I used to think sleep paralysis was just a strange glitch between dreaming and waking. A harmless trick of the brain. That belief ended the night I realized something in my room was awake before I was. My eyes opened to darkness, but I couldn't move. Not a finger, not a breath. The ceiling fan hummed slowly above me, slicing the silence into steady pieces. I tried to turn my head, but my body felt nailed to the mattress. That's when I heard it. Breathing. Soft, careful, patient breathing that was not mine. It came from the corner near my closet. I told myself it was imagination, leftover dream noise. But the sound shifted, closer now, as if someone had stepped onto my carpet. The air in the room felt heavier, thicker, like humidity before a storm. My chest strained for control. I could see the doorway from my bed, faintly outlined by streetlight. Nothing stood there, yet I felt watched with unbearable focus. Then my eyes drifted toward the closet. The door was slightly open. I never leave it like that. A thin line of darkness waited inside, darker than the rest of the room. Something inside that gap shifted. Not movement, exactly, but a change in shape, like shadows rearranging themselves. My heartbeat pounded so loudly I was sure it could be heard. The breathing stopped. Silence flooded the room. That silence felt worse than the sound. Seconds dragged like hours. Then I saw two small reflections inside the closet. Eyes. They didn't glow, they simply caught light, the way animal eyes do in headlights. They were level with mine, meaning whatever stood there was tall. Very tall. I tried to scream, but only a trapped whimper escaped. My body refused every command. The eyes blinked once. Slowly. Deliberately. Then the closet door creaked wider without being touched. The sound scratched through my skull. I could feel the mattress dip slightly, as if weight had settled near my feet. I couldn't see it, but I felt the presence climb onto the bed. The breathing returned, now directly above me. Warm. Damp. Curious. A pressure hovered over my chest, not touching, just waiting. I stared at the ceiling, praying for movement. My vision blurred with panic. Finally, my fingers twitched. The spell cracked. I gasped and rolled sideways, slamming into the wall. The room was empty. Closet closed. Doorway clear. No sound except the fan. I sat up, shaking, telling myself it was only sleep paralysis. Only a hallucination. But when I looked down, the blanket near my feet was slightly pressed inward, as if something heavy had just been sitting there. And from inside the closet came one last soft exhale, like relief, before complete silence swallowed everything. The second time it happened, I prepared for it. I told myself that knowledge would make it less terrifying. I researched sleep paralysis for hours, reading how the brain wakes before the body, how hallucinations are common, how fear feeds the illusion. Armed with logic, I went to bed convinced I would handle it calmly if it returned. That confidence vanished at 3:12 a.m. when my eyes opened again and my body refused to follow. This time, the room felt colder. My breath formed faint clouds in the dim light from the window. I could see my bedroom door clearly. It was closed when I fell asleep. Now it stood halfway open, revealing the dark hallway beyond. A shadow stretched from the doorway across my floor, long and thin like a finger pointing directly at me. I tried to blink, hoping the image would reset, but the shadow remained perfectly still. Then I heard slow footsteps from the hallway. Soft, deliberate, like someone trying not to wake me. Each step pressed into the silence with awful patience. The shadow on the floor shifted as the figure moved closer. My heart raced, but my body stayed frozen. The footsteps reached my doorway and stopped. I could feel someone standing there, watching me. The air felt charged, like static before lightning. I wanted to close my eyes, but fear forced them open. A shape leaned into the room. Not fully visible, just an outline darker than the darkness behind it. The figure was tall, shoulders slightly hunched, head tilted unnaturally to one side. I could make out no face, no features, only an absence of light where a person should be. It stood there for what felt like minutes, studying me. I felt exposed, like an insect pinned to a board. Then it stepped inside. The shadow glided across the floor without sound. It didn't walk normally, it seemed to slide, its movements too smooth, too controlled. It stopped beside my bed. I could sense it leaning over me. My chest tightened as if invisible hands pressed down. I tried to shout, to move anything, but my muscles betrayed me. The pressure grew heavier, making it difficult to breathe. The figure's head lowered until it hovered inches from my face. I felt a cold draft brush across my lips. It was breathing, not warm like a person's breath, but icy and dry, like air from a freezer. My ears rang with panic. Then, slowly, the figure raised one arm. Its hand reached toward my forehead. Long fingers, unnaturally thin, stretched toward me. Just before they touched my skin, my body jerked violently. I rolled off the bed, hitting the floor hard. Pain shot through my shoulder, but I welcomed it. I scrambled up, turning on the lamp. The room was empty. The door was closed again. The hallway silent. I checked the time. 3:13 a.m. Only 1 minute had passed. My shoulder throbbed where I'd fallen. But what unsettled me most was the faint, icy sensation lingering on my forehead, as if something had almost touched me and changed its mind at the last second. By the third incident, fear had turned into dread that followed me through the day. I avoided sleeping on my back. I left lights on. I even recorded myself at night, hoping to prove to my mind that nothing was really happening. For 2 nights, nothing unusual occurred. I started to believe the episodes were fading. On the 3rd night, exhaustion pulled me into a deep sleep before I could set up the camera. I woke up to the familiar paralysis, but this time I knew immediately something was different. I wasn't alone on the bed. I couldn't see it at first. My eyes were fixed on the ceiling, but I felt the mattress sinking beside me. Not near my feet, not by my side. Directly on top of me. A crushing weight pressed against my chest, forcing the air out of my lungs. Panic exploded through my mind. I tried to inhale, but my ribs wouldn't expand. It felt like someone was sitting squarely on me, pinning me down with their full body weight. My vision slowly tilted downward. It took every ounce of effort just to shift my eyes. What I saw froze my thoughts completely. A silhouette straddled my torso. Its knees dug into the mattress on either side of my ribs. Its hands rested lightly on my shoulders. I still couldn't see a face, only a dark shape with a head that seemed too large for its body. It leaned forward slightly, as if examining me. I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears, mixed with a faint, rhythmic clicking sound. At first I thought it was the ceiling fan. Then I realized it was coming from the figure itself. A slow, patient clicking, like fingernails tapping on wood. Its fingers began tapping gently on my shoulders, keeping time with the sound. The pressure increased. My chest burned from lack of oxygen. Spots danced in my vision. I was certain I was about to pass out. The figure tilted its head again, studying my struggle. I felt completely helpless, trapped inside my own body. Then it did something worse than pressing down harder. It lowered its head until I felt something brush my neck. Not a hand, not breath, something colder and heavier, like wet hair dragging across my skin. I wanted to scream so badly that my throat ached, but no sound came out. My eyes watered from the strain. I could feel tears sliding into my ears. Just when I thought I would lose consciousness, the weight suddenly vanished. Air rushed into my lungs in a painful gasp. I rolled onto my side, coughing violently. The room was dark and still. My chest felt sore, like I'd been punched repeatedly. I sat up, trembling, trying to slow my breathing. Then I noticed something on my shoulder. 4 faint red marks, evenly spaced, like the imprint of long fingers pressing into skin. They faded within minutes, but I knew they hadn't been there before. And as I lay back down, too shaken to sleep, I realized the clicking sound hadn't stopped. It was still echoing faintly in my ears, long after the room had gone silent. After the 3rd episode, I stopped trying to explain it. Logic had no place left in what I was experiencing. I was afraid to sleep, but exhaustion always won. I began leaving my bedroom door open, lights on in the hallway, hoping the brightness would keep anything away. That night, I told myself I would stay awake as long as possible. I watched videos on my phone until my eyes burned. Sometime after 2 a.m., without realizing it, I drifted off. I woke up already knowing what had happened. I couldn't move. But this time, my eyes were not facing the ceiling. I was lying on my side, facing my bedroom door. And the door was completely open. The hallway light poured into my room, giving me a clear view of everything. My heart started racing before I even saw it, because I felt the presence first. It stood in the doorway, fully visible for the first time. It wasn't a shadow anymore. It had shape. Tall, thin, Its arms hung too long at its sides, fingers nearly touching its knees. Its skin looked pale gray, stretched tightly over a bony frame. The head was slightly tilted, just like before. But now I could see its face. There were no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just a smooth, blank surface where features should have been. And yet, I knew it was staring directly at me. I tried to close my eyes, but I couldn't. It stepped into the room with slow, unnatural movements. Each step bent its legs the wrong way, like joints folding backward. It stopped beside my bed and leaned down until its blank face was inches from mine. I felt that same icy air brush across my lips. Then something terrifying happened. It turned its head toward the hallway, as if reacting to a sound. I heard it too. Footsteps. Real ones. My heart nearly exploded when I recognized them. My brother was walking past my room to get water from the kitchen. The creature slowly stood upright again. For a moment, I thought my brother would see it. But he walked right past the open door without reacting. As if nothing was there. The figure turned back toward me. I felt a strange realization sink into my mind. He couldn't see it. Only I could. The creature leaned closer, and for the first time, I felt something touch my forehead. A cold, firm pressure, like a finger pressing into skin. Suddenly, my body jolted free. I gasped loudly and shot upright in bed. The room was empty. The hallway light was still on. I ran to the door and looked outside. My brother stood in the kitchen, pouring water, confused by the noise I made. I asked him if he had seen anything in my room when he passed. He shook his head. That's when I noticed the mirror across the hallway. On my forehead, exactly where I felt the touch, was a faint, pale fingerprint-shaped mark. And it didn't fade.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to Midnight Case File, like the video and share it with others because more mysteries await you.